Hello students, standard 6th. In the beginning, when we started the video sessions, the physics chapter were not followed by the PDF files. So, some of the students are confused about the writing down in the notebook. So now I am going to start the revision of the chapter number 10 as well as sending the PDF files related to the question answers so that you people can write down the question answers in notebooks from the PDF file for the preparations. So chapter number 10, motion and measurement of distances. Now in the class, if we generally discuss about the last year's, that in the last year vacation, if we talk about that where did the children traveled and how, then we can get different answers about it. Somebody will say that they went to their uncle's house by bus. Then somebody will say that we went to our native place in some other state like Rajasthan or Maharashtra or UP by train. Some student will say that they go to the train, then from train they have to catch a bus to reach the village. Then from the village to house they have to go by either rickshaw, or if it is a small village like bullock carts can also take them. Then maybe some student can have the foreign trip also, or maybe in the same country also they can travel by aeroplane also. So, and maybe some will say that I went to my uncle's house and we enjoyed fishing through the boat. So here it is the thing that we can talk about the transportations. There are different transportations on our earth. But if you more search about the newspapers or the television reports, etc., or in the magazine, then the teacher can tell you about the Mars, because in some articles we can find out that small wheeled vehicles was moving on the soil of the Mars for some experiments, and that the vehicle was taken by spacecraft all the way to Mars from the Earth. So nowadays we can say that the transportation is not only on the soil or on the in the the water, but We have transportation up to the space also. But if you talk about the ancient time, so many years ago, that time there were no means of transport. Long ago, people did not have any transport. So, either they have to go by feet, by walking, and if they have to take the goods also, they have to load it on their backs. Then they used their mind and they started using the animals like bullocks or donkeys, elephants, horses, etc. for the transportation and to carry the goods also. They thought that we can use the strength of these animals, and then they started animals to use that. Now, same time, for the transport through the water routes, they were using boats. In the beginning, boat was like a very simple, like simple logs of wood in which a hollow cavity was there. And then later on, they learn how to join the different logs of the wood, and then they give the shape of boat that we are using nowadays. And they saw that the aquatic animals can easily swim in the water because of their special body shape like fish. And then they made the shape according to the fish. And you know that shape is known as the streamlined shape, which is narrow at the front, broad in the middle, and then again getting narrow at the back. So that in the water stream also it can easily go. Then invention of wheel made a great change in modern transport. So when the wheel was invented, then what happened? The whole transportation was changed. It was faster. And the design of the wheel was improved. And then they used to make the carts moving on the wheels, and they use the animals to pull that cart which are moving on the wheels. So the transport was easier and little faster than in the beginning. So the animals were used like bullocks or donkeys or horses, horse cart, bullock carts, and camels in the region where which type of animals are available they were using. So the animals were used to pull the carts that moved on the wheels. Then until the beginning of the 19th century, people were still depending on the animals, boats and ships to transport them from place to place. So they were only using these things, boats, ships and animal driven carts which are running on the wheels. Because that time the steam engine was not invented. But after the invention of the steam engine, it led to the development of new means of transport. Because in that we don't have to use the animals, and therefore the transport was faster also and easier also. So the invention of the steam engine was very important for the new modern transport. Railroads were made for steam engine. Railroads, you know, the railways. The trains were running by steam engine, in which the coal or other fuels were used to boil the water and make the steam, and steam was used to run the engines. So the railroads were made for the steam engine driven carriages and wagons. So the transport of the people and the transportation of the goods was becoming very easier than the before. Then what happens? The invention of the steam, and then later on the automobiles were invented. Automobiles means by the engines the vehicles are running, like motor cars, motorbikes, trucks, buses. They are known as automobiles. So the automobiles were later invented. Similarly, in the water routes also, in the beginning we saw that the ships and boats, there was manually using, but then the engine driven, steam engine driven, motorized boats and ships were used. So we don't have to use our strength, because to move the boat they were used that wooden things, and then it takes more strength, more power should be used. But now after that the motorized boats and ships were started. So the water transport was also becoming very easier going. Then in the early years of 1900, the aeroplanes were invented by the Wright brothers, and that the travel through the air was possible. Now in the 20th century there are so many transport systems were invented. Some of them are the electric trains. We know that nowadays the trains are running with electric energy. No more using the steam engines. So electric trains, monorails. Monorails means the rails, the train which is running on a single track. Single rail is known as the monorail. So the monorails, supersonic aeroplanes which are very fast, and that are the spacecraft which take you to the space on the different planets or the moon, etc. So these are the contributions of the modern 20th century. So we can say that the mode of the transport was very easier and safer also. Now you can see that after this also still they are inventing different mode of transports. Maglev train which is running with the magnets and so on. So the modern transport is very faster and easier now, so that the people can go from one place to another place within a short time, from one country to other country. It doesn't take much time now. But in the beginning, they have to go through the water routes, and it was taking so many months to reach from one place to another place. But now within few hours, we can go with the aeroplane. So the modern transport is very, very easier, faster, and comfortable also. So now, here you can see the different pictures also of the transports that we are using nowadays. And you can get more pictures also. And you can get the pictures and you can cut it and paste in your notebook about the different modern means of the transport. Now in the next session we will learn about the measurement, different type of measurements, why we need the standardized measurement and measurement of length, etc., etc. So now going to finish today's session, and some PDF file will be there. You have to write down there, and any confusion write down in the comment section. Thank you very much.